Roll call 219 here. I got a new camera, so I'm going to try and work on it. But I want to talk about the gun show I went and visited this weekend, this past couple of days, and some ups and downs of it. Uh, some of the places I visit was Copper Custom Armament. We all know this guy, Tim from the Military Arms Channel's place. I've been to his shop, and it's a real cool shop. Go check his stuff out. I always gain some knowledge and some information from these folks. And, you know, good dude, sticks up for the Second Amendment, donates a lot of the proceeds from his YouTube channel. It's down there, so if you're running through my YouTube, go and look at some of the videos he posts. It's real good stuff. So I went and visited his stuff, his little booth he's got there. Another man I went and saw was this guy. He had a real cool holster. It was leather and it was magnetized. So as we all, use the clips on our holster, inside or outside the waistband, he uses a magnet. And it was really hard. I had to take two hands, one to hold it and the other one to pull the magnets apart. So, as far as it holding up onto your hip, it worked. The holster's leather. As you stick your firearm in there, you get the holster wet, and it'll shrink and compress to your firearm, and you can keep on shrinking it until you get that good retention on it. So this is another dude to check out. His holsters ran about $40 a piece, so they're not hugely expensive. So hopefully you can see that, and that camera will focus in there. Check this guy's stuff out, and give him a buzz and get a holster from him. Another dude I went and visited was this guy. If you're into military surplus, starting to kind of dabble into it. That was one of the downfalls of the gun show. Everything military surplus, rifles, ammo cans, everything was really expensive. I mean, I didn't find a firearm under $700, and even like the beat up ones, nah, those were going for 750, 725, and usually they'll have a sign out there that says that you can kind of haggle with them. And there was no kind of haggling, but I did run into this guy. He just had a lot of like refurbished stuff, and it was in great shape. He didn't have any kind of beat up, firearms that were military surplus. But if you're selling some kind of military surplus, go down there. He buys and sells. So if you're into that stuff, visit that guy. Another cool booth I went and visited was Second Amendment Arms and Range. This place is in New Carlisle, Indiana, and I didn't really know it existed. I kind of heard a little bit over Facebook, but I finally met these people, and they're in New Carlisle, Indiana. That's like 25, 30 minutes away. And what a cool dude he was. And he gave me this card. And if I rent 9 lanes, I get the 10th one free. So that's the kind of deal that they were giving out. So if you're in the Indiana area or you live in it, go check these people out. I'm going to, and then I'm going to do a nice little review on their range. And, this is the kind of cool stuff that you go and see at these gun shows. And this is another one. And I bought stuff from this guy, Guns and Roses. That's pretty cool. Let's see if we can focus on that. He had a bunch of targets, all different sizes, $1 a piece. And I'll show you some that I got. Cindy bought this one. I don't know why, but it's a giant elk. It's a giant elk. So hopefully my Christmas present will be something that takes down an elk. The next one we bought was this one. It gives all the vital organs to shoot, which is really cool. And what's awesome about these targets that I'm showing you is that they're waterproof. These targets are waterproof. And we had all that recent rain from the hurricane, and we couldn't get out there and shoot. I mainly have a lot of paper targets, and when those get wet, everybody knows they tear and they become a mess. but these are waterproof. This is a target that the kids picked out. Obviously a basketball game, and you shoot the basketballs, add up the numbers, and whoever's got the most points wins. So they got a lot of targets like that to shoot. And then they picked out this one, which is really cool. We all know the Rocket Man, don't we? So we're going to take a couple shots at him. And he gave us some of these. This is a left-handed target, and this is supposed to correct, your shooting. And it tells you what you're doing wrong. And we got a left-handed one, since we have a left-handed shooter in the family. And we also got right-handed ones. So now we can kind of brush up, and this is supposed to help you in your techniques of shooting. And these are all waterproof. They're 100% recycled, and they're really durable. So go check those guys out. Some of the negatives of it were this year vendors seem to be, buy our stuff or leave. That's what it was. Interaction was limited. They seem to be irritated by questions. The people I'm showing you are the people that were worth my time, and I'm going to buy stuff from them. Other people were buy my stuff or get away from my booth. So I thought that was a little annoying. And one of the big negatives we kind of encountered where we walked in, and there was a guy, he had like 3 or 4 tables full of ammunition, and it was all $20, all of it, $20 or more. And the problem with that is it was Winchester white box and Remington ball ammo, basically range ammo, and he wouldn't move off the price. And I can find that stuff for 11, 12, 13 bucks a box. And he wasn't willing to negotiate. And then I saw that he had the Midwest ammunition stuff that you can see in my videos that I shot. That's all, reloads and refurbished brass. And he was selling that for 20 bucks a box. And I told him, I can get this stuff for $9. I'll give you $10 a box. Nope, I need 20 bucks a box. So I'm like, I'm not here to start anything. I'm just telling you that, I can find this stuff cheaper, and that's kind of like a crappy move, selling everything for 20 bucks a box, and then you're not wanting to negotiate price off of it. So that was a pretty bad engagement with that vendor. The number one thing that pissed me off the most was as the kids were shooting the paintball guns, then they went and got something to eat. I walked over to this gentleman's table, and he had Smith & Wesson, I think it was an SVD or SDV, 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. And I picked it up, and I was looking at it, and it had a lot of cosmetic flaws. He had some used guns and some new guns, and obviously this was a used firearm, but it had a lot of blemishes on the slide. The grips on it were, had big gouges in them. And, I can cover that stuff up with Talon grips or a rubber grip. So I wasn't too concerned. And I called the vendor over, and I approached him. I said, I carry a Taurus PT-111 G2, and I'm willing to trade my Taurus for the Smith & Wesson 40. And he's like, really? And he wanted to see my gun, so I pulled it out and showed it to him, and he's looking at it, and he's like, wow, this is pretty clean. I'm like, yeah, this is my everyday carry, so, I don't throw it around and put mud in it or anything like that. I depend my life on this firearm. And he's looking at it, and he's like, that's pretty clean. And I'm like, yeah, I paid I think I paid $259 for it, and he wanted $270, $275 for his Smith & Wesson 40. And I'm like, well, I'll trade you my firearm for this one. He's like, well, it sounds like a good deal. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to do it? He said, it sounds like a good deal. Will you throw an extra 20 bucks on top? Yeah, no problem, I said. Let me go get the $20. So I put down the handgun. I said, I just got to step right over here to this next table and get the $20. It'll be 2 seconds. He said, all right. So I walked over, got the $20, walked back over to the man's table, and this other gentleman was standing in front, picks up the handgun, hands it to him, says, I want to buy this handgun. And the vendor takes it, gives it to his wife, and says, this gentleman's going to purchase his firearm. And I looked at him, I said, I thought we had a deal that I was going to trade you my Taurus for the Smith & Wesson. He's like, oh, well, you know, I didn't think you were going to come back, and this guy's already here, and he's got the cash. And I'm thinking to myself, I told you, I just had to walk, 4 feet over here to give you the $20. And so that rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, like I said, the vendors were, even the simple questions, where are you located? Do you have an online website I can go to? It seemed like they didn't even want to answer those questions. So it was hit and miss all throughout the gun show. It was bigger than last year, which is pretty good. I don't know if people are trying to recoup their money since gun sales have been slow. But even the Taurus 85, I've been looking to purchase that handgun for a while now. And I should have bought it online when I had the chance. It was $185 with like a $60 rebate or something. I should have picked it up then, but I held off thinking I might find a little bit of a better deal, and wouldn't have to really wait for the rebate. So maybe I get it for $185, $190. No, those guns were $250 or more. It varied from table to table, so I should have took that deal. But those are kind of the ins and outs that happen, and that one thing really made me mad with that Smith & Wesson. So, I don't know if I, blew it by walking away for 2 seconds, or that guy was just a complete, jerk. But that's kind of the things that happened to me there. There's another one in February, so I'm going to go back to that one and try that out. But one of the best things that happened was with the kids, and the kids enjoyed it. They asked questions. They even pestered some of the vendors, and watching them ask the questions and be really interested in firearms, and seeing them want to progress past the 22s, and all the learning tool guns, that's what I call those, is really getting me excited. And I can't wait when they start getting older, and even when they get to when they're 21 and they can actually purchase their first handgun. There goes my bird clock. But that was probably one of the greatest things that happened there, watching them interact with all the different firearms and learning the history of them. So put down in the comment sections if some of this stuff has ever happened to you. Hit the like button, and comment if I faltered on the deal, or maybe the vendor was in the wrong, because I wasn't really sure. I was really shocked that happened. So I'd like to thank my old and new subscribers, and even the people that zip through the channel. I appreciate all that, and like always, I'll catch you on the next one.